Pass the
Runway.
please.
All right, welcome back to the Pass the Runway podcast with Fletcher and
Pauli.
there we go. So we got a lot of great responses from the first episode, so we're back with episode 2.x because we had to take that chance. It was our only chance with the 2 in the title, and that's just the way we roll.
Yeah. Can do with 20, and it's kind of awkward with 22, and can't really do it with 200. So you've got to take the opportunities when they come.
Exactly right. So we're gonna open today with a trivia question. It's one of my favorite Elite trivia questions. I ask it pretty frequently, and people always seem to forget the answer. And I had to check it just now to make sure it was still accurate, and it is still accurate, although I imagine it will quickly be inaccurate after this is revealed. Which player is the only player to have provably achieved Damn Agent 53 on all 3 versions of GoldenEye?
It's tough to get on, pal, isn't it?
Potentially. Some have struggled for it on PAL.
Is there a chance you can pronounce the location of where the dam is located?
I believe it's Arkhangelsk.
It was better than what I would have done. I'll give you credit for that.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and put that down.
It does. The system records page only has 14 people listed with 53 on PAL, so limits your choices there. But obviously, when you look at the rankings, you'll figure it out. So don't do that. That's cheating. I will reveal the answer at the end, so stay tuned. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the rankings. Busy last couple weeks after our first episode.
Absolutely.
So let's do GoldenEye first. So we have Mr. Jonathan Hopman Frosthops with his Frigate 00104 after 2 years of playing since achieving 105.
That's my guy. What a cook run, honestly.
It's a pretty wild run indeed. I remember when he got 105 because I was alive back then. I was here.
You got the object permanence on the 105. I remember it well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
I like to think that the moment K4 cut off, he's just been playing Frig 00 since the frame ended.
Probably. I would not be surprised to finally see a 58 or a 22 from him in the near future. I know he's put a lot of effort into SA trying to slay that Untied, which is now one of the longest standing, if not the longest standing.
Another 58 at all is going to look completely bonkers.
It is currently the LSU and GoldenEye, so get after it, dude.
I think, do you think when he gets it, like 48 hours later, Pettit will post 55 somehow?
Oh, certainly.
Mm-hmm. I think
certainly.
So.
Pettit's been quiet for a few months. He posted some PRs back in March. And
for too long, this man would have.
I think he had something backrolled as well, if I remember correctly. I don't want to misremember, however. Anyway, moving on. We have Eric's Depot Agent 23, a wild record coming from Mr. Depot Warps are literally the worst thing ever invented. Depot is such an awful level. Why would anyone play Depot? And here he is now, sitting tied for 9th place on the Depot leaderboards.
Let me spin you a web really quick, if you don't mind.
Go for it, dude.
So this guy just sitting in chats, just waxing poetically about how 26 is a time that deserves respect, and like no one should go for the clip. And it's such a good time, and why make it pointless? And just just pouring that honey in your ear. Turns out this kid had a failed, well, he warped, but he didn't get 24, he got 25, and he just didn't post it. He just sat on it for quite some time, and then rattled off the 24 and posted them both. Like, I can't believe this kid.
Yes.
And then some worm gets in this kid's brain. He's like, you know what? That was a truly awful experience. Let's do it again, but like with the extra hot sauce of I have train gun. This guy is goofy and weird, and it makes no sense. And I'm so proud of him. Congrats, Eric.
I believe he is currently attempting to get 47 on 00, so best of luck with that. Pretty tricky time.
That's going to require 2.5 controllers, probably.
Most likely, yes. And then finally, on the GoldenEye side of things, we have an ancient player coming back and achieving Damn Agent 53. Expert Gamer has returned. He returned a little while ago. Sometime, I want to say last year is when he came back. Let's look at his PD times. Earlier this year, it says, is when he started playing again.
Yeah, he showed up like, I guess like a couple months before League kicked off, and then he jumped in on that for a little while as well.
Yeah. So he's been back in form playing again, and his comments, no boost, stuck on the lock gate, 52 soon. So if he's going for 52, best of luck. I will say nothing else about going for 52.
To be fair, he'd be more credible than the last like 15 people that said they were playing for 52.
This is very accurate. Very accurate. And seeing KJCR on the rankings would be probably wild enough to make several people just retire outright.
I don't know if I'd retire, but I'd probably log out of the rankings for like a week out of respect.
That's what we'll do. When Expert gets 52, everyone don't post any times for a full week. Just log out of your account, take a break, go outside, enjoy the natural world, as we all just need time to process.
Enjoy the outside world responsibly. It's a little goofy out there right now.
Indeed it is. Indeed
it
is.
So, have you ever played Halo 1?
I think Halo 1 may be the only... I played 2 through 4, I believe.
Okay, you've played 2 then.
Yeah.
Okay, you know the fight at the end where you're the Arbiter and you have to fight the big brute, and that's like the final boss of the game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is nothing like that. Shout outs to Crayola. Good work on the 153. Welcome back.
Wonderful. Well, that's the 3 for GoldenEye. So moving on to PD. Pauli, take it away.
All right, we'll do. So the first time, and this literally happened like 15 frames after we ended the recording last time, but heard a banged out Airbase 112. He did it. Tied the record.
He did indeed.
And, just bulldogged it, really, and just taking advantage of the fact that he's young and plenty of time, and has the good movement. Hasn't had time to really like get set in his ways and develop bad habits, and just cleaned it. I know he was drilling that practice ROM very hard to get good at the drift at the end. So he went about it the right way. Excellent time. Big congrats from me.
I'm looking forward to pulling out that practice ROM myself to learn the drift, as that is something I still want to do at some point. But just looking at these initials, ILPATRPE, is absolutely insane.
It's nice little nice little colorway going on.
Especially back in recent days when 113 was pretty heavily tied and people were wondering if 112 was even possible at all, and then Elu brute forced it with the 113 strat.
And then Ace came along and kind of refined it. Still, like, nah, not really brute force. He kind of like finessed it and made it work and gave us the blueprint. And now it doesn't. I mean, it's obviously tight. Doesn't seem like outrageous, but obviously, still a good time regardless.
Yes, certainly.
And a quick aside, if you can get a hold of EverDrive or some flashcard or whatever where you can practice things, like, not today, but that is the future of the game. So if you can get a hold of that tech, like, you might as well get it on the ground floor, because it's going to make some things very important.
I will definitely 100% agree with that. That was invaluable for me in the last couple months, especially like playing S2SA, getting practice runs with a nade every time. Like, it was huge for helping me develop consistency with that, even though it didn't end up helping that much because because I'm bad apparently. But get an EverDrive if you can. They're totally worth the investment. I've gotten my money's worth and then some already.
At the end of the day, like, all the practice in the world, you're still gonna have to smash a few rocks sometimes with your head. So
yes, and as a call to action, anyone that's good at making ROMs, make another ROM hack, please.
love a ROM hack. What? Shout outs to BK and Silvereye. Love that dumb shit. Like, bring it back.
Nesquik is a great meme. I would love to see either a Nesquik 2 or a version of PD.
Man, like, Nesquik PD, that sounds nuts.
I'm all in for it.
Right. So that's the first one. Next, we're going to talk about is the resurgent Taka back again, former champ, flexing his muscle a little bit, getting back in the groove, achieving G5 Agent 35 about a week ago. But then also, just today, not too long ago, got the SA40, which are both very good times with the lure. So congrats, mate. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, and he gets the crossbow in that 40.
I know that's kind of sick. All things considered, that may be the way. That may be the way to go for certain people, because then, you don't have to be as careful with the kills. You just have to hit the guard at all, and it'll take him out. So some people may want to consider that an idea. I know the crossbow as a projectile and not a hit scan can be super finicky, but it's worth exploring if you want to be a little bit safer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to have Taka back. If he were to hear this or someone relay it to him, is like, hey, like, big fan, good to have you around, mate. And for the next final time, we're gonna cover is from the UK, our boy Envy, banging out Air Force Agent 53 on J. This guy is he's participated in the cup as well. We might get to in a bit, but it's a bit underground, and seems like it comes and goes. But when he plays, pretty solid. I'm happy for him, and he may be playing for 52 right now. He said as much. Don't know how big in the minutia of that he is, but it's good to have him around. Solid.
He mentions CVS in his PR comment, which is just instantly triggering for me.
I was actually about to bring that up because I'm reading the comment. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength here, because I was going to mention that. They called you today.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to explain that one at all. Let's just move on.
Listen, some things are better without context.
True. Look at all of my quotes. We don't know the context for like 90% of them, and they're just great as they are.
And we added them, and we don't even know.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the rankings. So diving into recent events, been a interesting last couple weeks. Relatively quiet. Today has been pretty active, however. But before we get into that, the PD Match Cup is still going on.
Yeah, it's been highly contested. As both a participant and a spectator, I really enjoyed the experience. It's been great. It's been fun watching all the crazy things that have happened. Like someone in a recent match, uh, they kept Trent loaded on AFO, and the combat boost is going on. So it's in slow motion, and you see Trent coming around the corner, and he's doing like the slowest animation. He obviously knows he's making it super dramatic. Like he's taking the president, and like he's trying to get Joanna to like body block the bullet, but it's the golden magnum. You can't block that bullet. So it's like, what do you think's going to happen here? Is either the president dies or you die. Either way, it's the same. But all in all, been some hot matches. I'm not going to get into it here because in the last 48 hours, there's been 3 or 4 matches. So for the sake of protecting spoilers, I recommend going catching the VODs or checking the results if you like. And looking forward to the future. Should be a hot finals on the horizon.
Certainly getting towards the end of that. Awesome.
And I'm also curious to see, who makes the run in the lower bracket, because it's obviously double LM. So
Yep.
plenty good action left to go. This has been just as good for me as the GE one was, which is super entertaining, and I'm glad it's very successful because this is a fun format.
It is. I may very well participate in the next one. We'll see. Probably not for PD, as I am not as much of a PD player, but
Hopefully for future potential matches that they're either we do different difficulties other than just Asian, or we do the spicy one of so you take like Dam, and then you ban a difficulty, and then I ban a difficulty, and then we play what's left over. Like that could be neat.
yeah, I like that version. I think that could be really entertaining.
We'll see what the future of Match Cup holds. We'll see what Cal's got on his mind.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Cal, there's a new episode of Mate Chat out.
Oh yes, like fun, great, interesting interview with JD, which highly recommend. You should go check it out if you didn't catch it live, or if you haven't. It's great. I think Cal is super suited for that. He's such a feels like he has like a natural knack for just being an interviewer. I don't know what it is, but his timing's good, his cadence is good, and like it's like he'd done it before. Like the man just gets it. It's fantastic.
Well, maybe he did, and he's just not completely honest with us,
Well, I mean, we already know Brafham's not his last name, so who's to say?
Another one of those, huh? Anyway, S2 is still active, but pretty much only for Ilu, it seems. No one else has really been playing it. If anyone is, it's been kind of under the water. At least I should say Double O. SA has still seen a fair amount of action from a lot of new players messing around with the far comms shots, taken out, trying to get some 51s out here. I still don't think anyone has gotten 51, but I know a couple have now gotten 52 with the strat.
But I've got some bad news for you. There could have been a 51, but a certain bird missed the mine throw.
I wasn't gonna mention it, but I was aware of that.
I feel, if it was anyone else, no, but I feel obligated by law to bring it up because
fair.
But intentionally continuing the meme for content, I fully respect. So
Yes.
love you,
So
Birdie. I feel like you'll get it soon, mate. Keep at it. But so getting back to the Lou, if you didn't catch it, Elu had a insane run with the nade, and if you watch it, he could have only missed the nade throw by like pixels, and it just didn't blow up the cam, and everything completed, and it was a 116 fail, which would have been an absolutely insane time had it stuck.
yeah, yes, where he's close. He's playing. I believe he's playing right now, actually.
I'm not going to look, but I fully believe that he's just digging in right now. So
He has
that
since
man,
cut
if
stream. He
nothing
was
else,
streaming. He was streaming earlier, but
that man, if nothing else, is tenacious. So
yes,
I know he's not going to quit until he gets something.
indeed, indeed.
This is me you know, throwing up a light for my boy Elu. Keep at it, mate. Let's get this cash.
Indeed. And then the most recent development is ongoing right now. Is this talk of a new Villa clip?
Yeah, so Henrik posted something not even 2 hours ago, probably, where so you know you're playing Villa SA, right? And then you
Mm-hmm.
kill snipers, and then you go through that door, and you go down those stairs right there.
Yep.
Well, apparently, if you can get on the rail of those stairs, you can clip out like right next or like right under that painting that's on the wall that you know most people don't notice because it's Villa and it's super laggy and you're looking down to like
Yeah.
save frames here because good god. Um, and you can fall right on the steps and start the basement. Now, if practical, that obviously has heavy implications, but the early signs looks like that if helpful, it would have to be something completely bonkers because the problem is, you know, you go on Villa PA,
Mm-hmm.
you go punched out the two, you punch out those two hackers right before you do the dishwasher clip, right?
Yeah.
Well, in this route, theoretically, you would go take them out first and then go upstairs and do everything like normal. But the issue is all when the hackers activate, all those guards spawn, and there's like four guards blocking the room to the hackers. So
Mm.
you have to fight through them, and if you don't get through them, if it's easy to alert the hackers and they just stand up, and now you can't instantly knock them out with a punch. So that loses a billion. And then you have to fight your way back through the guards to get upstairs, do the laptop throw, take out the other hacker, take out the one sniper you shoot, and then fight your way back through those guards because they're going to follow you because they're not going to let it go.
Yeah.
And then you have to get through them and then have enough speed to get on the railing and clip, which all things considered is a lot to ask for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe some Villa genius because believe you me, I'm not talking about myself here, but maybe some Villa genius like you know obviously Ace or Clem or Elu, like maybe one of them can crack the code because I mean you can't shoot your way through those guards because you need the ammo because you're clipping right to the basement. So
Yeah.
that's the thing you can't avoid. Like if you have no resources, it doesn't matter if you clip. Like you're not doing the basement.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. I mean, my personal feelings on it, I'm always like, maybe it's just the way I look at these games, but I'm always like, no, this is not going to be of any use. Like, this is not helpful at all. I've felt that way about pretty much every strat that's come about for the last 2 years. And I'm right about 50% of the time. So, we'll see where this one lands.
As we'll flip a coin. Well, you know the old saying, it either saves 10 seconds or 2 seconds or it's worse.
Yeah, it's just no good at all.
it's a it's a 3-man race, so we'll see what happens. I would personally probably do what because it's PD, so it pertains a little bit more to me, than to your
Yeah.
interest. But I think I'm gonna do your idea on S2, where it's like I'm gonna let them figure it out and let it stabilize and see where it goes.
Yeah, it's almost not worth trying to get it on the ground floor where there's no ground at all.
Yeah, it's not the same. It doesn't seem the same as like Zooms, where it's like, you know, if you know what's up, you can just get in on that. This
Yeah.
seems a bit more specialized because you're gonna need like a good pace to even make it worth it, and then execute that, and then your reward is doing the basement, which is not easy. We'll just kick back, gonna have a nice tea and see what happens.
Spectator sport indeed. All right. Time for the forum recap.
All right. Little recap.
Sponsored
Little recap.
by Samo, I guess.
What's the compliment he always gets at KFC? I'm drawing a blank now.
Isn't it like the $5 meal deal or something?
Something like that. But it's the Zinger box.
I feel like that's not a KFC thing, right?
Not here, but it obviously isn't Os because I watched the clip where he said Zinger box 18 times, so he can't
I'm
be
familiar
making
with
it
that
up.
clip. I swear that wasn't to KFC though. I can't. Is that on
Regardless, Zinger box, if you're out there, let's talk money. Go ahead and help us out here.
Anyway, forum recap. First thing's got to be this controversial elite related opinions thread, because the last there's been a bunch of posts here that just aren't even opinions. Like it's a forum thread. You have to follow the format that the thread takes, and the thread, there's no conversation that happens in this thread. This is just posting controversial opinions, and any conversation that happens outside of the thread. But then there's been some conversation which probably shouldn't be in there, and then Jimbo, love the guy, but Jimbo comes in. When I collaborate with Goose to make the most comprehensive GoldenEye competitive multivid in history, it will surpass 5 million views and become a global phenomenon. My friend, that is not an opinion at all.
That's more of like a wish you're trying to will it into existence. It's not really.
Well, at best it's a prediction, and this is not even close to a prediction thread. And I then I replied saying, apparently it's a controversial opinion to say that predictions aren't opinions. But so that thread is in a little bit of chaos right now. But that's just the forums for you. And speaking of chaos, Deep Darkness was having a lot of fun on Extraction.
Oh, I saw this live. Little little insight here. But so messing around on Extraction, where I'm gonna be honest with you, I learned about 8 things about the level that I didn't even know existed. Right?
I mean, I learned a few things too. Yeah.
DD clips down into the security room where you would throw the second ECM mine if you're playing Defection SA or PA. And it turns out the 2 cast bodyguards and the Mr. Blonde that appear in the end cinema are just there. Now that makes sense because assets for the level being loaded on the map before you do the cutscene makes sense. But never even thought to look in there. So it's kind of obviously they wouldn't be there if you went there on the bottom floor. I'm not sure which objective you trigger before they load, but it obviously has to be something.
Yeah.
And they load there. And as a quick aside, the rocket ammo that's normally on the roof on Agent is there on SA and PA, and I'm mad about that. Don't care for that. It should be on the roof. Should be on the roof on SA and PA, so I can use the rocket in the bodyguard room. But I digress. So just messing around, wacky, haha, I'm gonna shoot the Mr. Blonde with the crossbow. So when it gets to the cinema, there's a crossbow bolt in his eye, and that's very, XD.
Yes.
Turns out Cass is down there too after she despawns upstairs, and what he didn't know at the time is you can strafe her like, John and Val. Didn't know that, so he had the idea. We'll strafe her outside, and if we can get her to fall through the floor in the street, because there's no collision detection at a certain point outside of the tower, and just wackiness ensues. I don't want to give it away too much, and I may have already said too much, but it's a fun little 7-minute video with an extraction wackiness. I highly recommend.
Yes.
You go check it out.
I will second that recommendation. It is quite the experience to watch. And then, I mean, besides, the forums have been relatively quiet lately, so if y'all want to give us some content, feel free to while out on the forums, give us something to talk about. Pretty much the only other thing, Dusky posted some slapper-only untieds.
Well, before we get into that real quick, I want to say it seems almost intentional that it was quiet, and then today for 8 hours, like, things have just been boom. Here's a Villa clip, boom, boom, boom. Things is happening. What's going on? Of course,
yeah. Why would it be any different?
But man, here speaking for myself, not surprised, but it is still funny.
Yes.
So, as you know, Dusky and you and myself, we're a fan of side meme leagues such as like Ophos and.
As the inventor of the Ophos League, yes, I can agree to that.
Bit of Turbo and those kind of things, but recently jumped back on the Slapper League, where you just obviously you're slapping, you don't shoot. And what did my boy Dusky get in Slapper League? May hit me.
Let's see, he got. Like we're looking at a silo run, silo agent 119, and then Alka came in with a couple Depot 00 runs, including a 109, and then Dusky responded with a 0059 and then a 0057.
That sounds like classic Dusky. Like someone plays a meme league time, and then he just has to bury it about like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
This is what he does that on emulator all the time, and I'm here for it.
It's a good meme.
It's excellent, and it's a great way to keep the games that we've played for already hundreds of hours, keep them fresh. So if you've never tried, I dip your toe in. You might surprise yourself.
They're a fun, more relaxed time because you don't care about it as much, which can be nice.
Or if you fully buy into the meme, you care about it more.
As long-standing Ophos champion of Goldeneye, I still definitely care about normal ranks more. So,
as long-standing Ophos champion of Perfect Dark, I unbiasedly could not agree more.
Well, moving out of the realm of memes, although maybe not entirely, maybe we're going to keep a little bit of meme flavor as we go, but the episode title, of course, is 2.x, so that brings us to the main discussion today, which is the 2.x control style.
Oh, man, you've only gone and done it, have you?
Would you like to provide any opening statements about 2.x?
Yes, I'm really happy that 2.x doesn't exist in Perfect Dark. No. So, in all honesty, 2.x is like, as a concept, is insanely cool. Like, it's incredible that they conceptualized that and implemented it really well, all things considered, for them to be the first people to even try such a thing on
Yeah,
console.
I mean, as
Like,
far as a casual control style goes, it's honestly ahead of its time because what the competition at the time would have been the original PlayStation, which didn't have control sticks.
yeah, the DualShock came by like either a year or two after the PlayStation launch, I think.
Yeah, so having an analog stick at all, not the size of a joystick, like an arcade joystick, was wild already. Take into account the three-pronged nature of the N64 controller on top of it all, which again, so many people hate on the shape and the design of the N64 controller when in reality it's such an iconic and like 3000 IQ design.
Yeah, it definitely gets more. It gets more flack than um, it deserves. Now, our two flavors of well, I say two, but the two main flavors of control style, alien finger and keyboard, obviously help for this particular application. But you know, there's been way worse controllers than the N64 controller. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like and I think the advent of keyboard or alien finger is just us proving that I mean the controller works, maybe move a button or two and then it just becomes like perfect. But honest, like I love just using. I know both of us are keyboard players, but
Mhm.
I so much prefer doing that with N64 than anything else. Like I play other N64 games casually with keyboard style grip now.
Well, there's always one thing to consider, and it's if you don't like keyboard and you don't like alien finger, I'll remind you that Frost Tops has all those frigate times doing the pluck. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Don't remind me.
It's good work, mate.
Maybe that's the secret to getting good frigate times is just plucking the control stick like a uh, heathen.
Even it uses the RNG when you hold the controller technically like incorrect by your
Now, the real question is: are there any players that are both D-pad and pluck?
Oh, I think you just gave me a headache. That
Because
sounds.
that's like shooting yourself in both feet.
I don't. Who plays D-pad? So Haycock plays D-pad, and I know Toasty plays D-pad.
Bands,
I know that. Who?
Debray, and Spec, I believe, are the main the unholy five of D-pad players.
Use D-pad and stick. Like, how are you hitting the buttons?
I imagine what they're doing is the same grip as the 2.x style with your right hand, the way you're supposed to hold 2.x, where your right thumb is on the stick, then your pinky, ring, and middle finger wrap around for Z and to grip the controller, and your pointer finger rests on the face of the controller to press B and A, which is the standard 2.x grip, which not everyone knows initially. And I know for a fact that you were unaware of that particular grip when you attempted 2.x back in the day.
Oh no. Oh, I had no idea. So if you happen, you know, if you want to take a stroll back to 2018, and you pull up my times page, you'll see my three depot times, and all of those were achieved with A, 2.x, and B, um, I hit the A and the B button with my face. I did not use my finger because my brain couldn't comprehend such a thing. So I just used another part of my body, which happened to be my chin. So there you go. Hey, got Depot 26. What can you say? It worked.
I'm watching your 26 now and just imagining you just bashing your chin against the controller when you get to the two doors.
Aggressively. I wanted to make sure. I had to just get a little tap in real quick. I had to make sure it opened.
Oh,
I'm sure. I'm sure watching those vids, there's like new definitions of lines that I invented on those runs. So.
Oh, well, the 26 doesn't look that bad, but I won't bother watching the 44 and 55 at this moment.
No, I wouldn't bother. But I mean, it's 26 is 26. Kind of is what it is.
True.
I wonder really quick. He may not remember this, but I wonder which genius like came up to Doak or whoever and is like, so this controller's got one stick on it. What if we gave them two, and then they were just looked at each other and the light bulb went off and they came up with 2.x?
Instead of redesigning the N64 controller, it's just, let's just use two of them.
I can fully respect working around your limitations, whether they're esoteric or not.
True.
Well, if you don't have anything else to add about 2.x, I had a little question I was going to ponder.
Oh, I mean, I have quite a few things, but go ahead with your question.
So, basically, and you may get into this, but in the modern day, like, if you're the kind of guy who's interested in getting, some top times or records are being like highly ranked, you really can't exist without 2.x, which some people look at as a negative, but it seems kind of like the stereotype is like the older players hate it and the newer players just do it and they're just like, oh, it's not that bad. But I was wondering, like, do you happen to know off the top of your head who would be the highest ranked person in GE that has 0 2.x times?
I do not know that. And I was trying to look at this the other day, and I'm not sure that there's really any top 50 players that haven't used it for something at some point. Potentially one of the Brazilian players, maybe. Although even then, I mean, if I look here, Guilherme Alberto.
I tried to have a look, and even ancient Dan Chervon has Streets 155s using the technique.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that question. If you know the answer to that question, please feel free to let us know. I'm very curious.
Especially if it turns out like, I don't see any way it could be, but if there's someone in the top 100 that has no 2.x times, that would be really cool.
Oh, I guarantee I'd be shocked if there wasn't at least one or two in the top 100 with no 2.x times, but
maybe, because I know in the last year or two, like, getting into the top 100 and beyond has been like, since there's been a whole new generation of players, the new wave, to borrow a term, it's been highly contested at the bottom and in the middle and getting close to the top.
This is true. The top 50 and top 100, even the top 20 has changed a ton since I first joined.
The rankings colors have been diversified a lot in recent history.
Thankfully, because like everyone just goes with boring old colors. It's nice to see some more vibrant, exciting ones, like our yellows, of course.
Not to not to self promote, but the gold color is pretty sick.
It does.
I'm a big fan of these. I'm a big fan of like these purples that are popping up now too. Big fan of that.
Yeah, a couple of the purples are pretty nice, indeed. And
what else did you have on docket as far as 2.x goes?
Well, you mentioned earlier how there's the whole old school versus new school mentality of 2.x. Like, I know Goose talks about it all the time during speed lores and other things, and he always makes 2.x out to be this awful, awkward, inhuman, like demonic form of holding the controllers and attempting to control Bond, where most new players pick it up, try it for like, 20 minutes, and they're like, oh, this isn't bad. I don't have to do that much movement. I can just, rest it on a pillow in my lap or something and be perfectly set. Like, it's practically speaking, it's not terribly difficult to just do it easily. And like, I think part of that's shown by the fact that there's only been like maybe 2 or 3 players that have made some sort of contraption to like hold the controllers together. Like, I know Goose had his Chimera, and Dirty Harry has his custom-made N64 controller with 2 controllers built into the shell of a larger one.
That controller looks sick, though.
It does look sick, but there's so many new players now that just pick up 2.x because they see it as the only way to go. I mean, and I think the new players tend to over glorify 2.x. Like, I would agree that it is quote unquote the future of the game, because we're going to get to a point where everyone is so skilled at the game where any way to get that time save is good, and it offers a 0.35 time save on most levels. But look at Ace and Caverns. Like, everyone was talking about, Wotus getting 130 with 2.x, and it was insane. And then Ace just casually gets 129 with 1.2. Like, there's still so much room to improve records, especially on the 00 and SA levels, that don't involve using 2.x and 2.x strategies. And practically speaking, there's a couple levels where, like, why wouldn't you use 2.x? But even that list is not that long when you look at it practically. We got Dam Agent, Runway Agent, and SA. Pretty much free uses of 2.x. Very little strafe changes. You pretty much just hold it the whole time. You've got Streets, all 3 difficulties. That one's really easy, especially on Agent. You just set the second controller aside, don't even think about it. And on SA and 00, you have the chance some time where you could pause and switch, although there are strats thinking to strafe Val with just 2.x, and then you have a bit more time to do that. Depot is the most obvious one. You need 2.x on Depot to get good times on SA and 00. But beyond that, Caverns, Agent, another easy one. And then that's it as far as like levels where it's completely free to use 2.x. Everything else has other things coming after you. There's the more, I don't want to say niche uses, but the more slightly more difficult but still practical uses on Egypt and Archives, which I used personally to get 54s and 45s. More people are playing it on Statue. We noticed that with Callie and his 217s. And I will likely play it for 218s here soon. But there's so many levels and that just don't use 2.x or don't really make a lot of sense to use 2.x. And people forget about that. People forget about how many levels there are still where using 2.x is either not helpful or just too difficult and not worth the 0.35 second time save when you're going to be losing so much with strafe changes and other things. And Pauli's power went out partway through my tirade. So I will just cut the portion until Pauli gets back. But I'll leave this in because it's funny. All right, well, that was our special guest power outage. Pauli is now returned.
Yeah, so, the cool thing about Power Surge is not only does everything turn off, because obviously there's no power, but gotta wait for the internet to reset, so that was interesting, to say the least.
Yes, of course, it feels like no time at all for you listening because I'm a genius at editing and really good at stitching 2 recordings together back to back.
Secret time dilation wizard AV.
Yes.
If you need
secret Secret strats here.
So, you want to run back like the last 10 seconds that I missed while I was, gone?
I think you missed more than 10 seconds, but sure. Basically saying people forget how many levels there are that either can't use 2.x or really don't need it. And people get a little caught up. At least in my opinion, people get too caught up in 2.x.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because as soon as you start messing with it after an hour and you're not used to it and it's kind of awkward, you're just like, oh my God, like you might get caught up, but I can't play the game. Like, look at look at all this. When really, you get down to it, and it's like, obviously Depot basically fully required for SA and double are required.
Yeah.
Agent, like you might as well because you can just set the controller down essentially. But the possible future of the game is there's more manual 2.x wizards like the Wotuses and the Gusses of the world who just it's comfortable to them, and then they get a little bit of a bonus boost starting off with on top of it, and at in the far end game of the game, those tiny little bits and pieces may make all the difference.
Yeah. I think we're still a bit far off from it being absolutely required by any means.
Right. But, things like, unless you just love 2.x control style and you prefer it, you boot up Bunker 2 Agent, like, not really doing anything there.
No. It's not doing anything at all, actually.
Starter control, like, not really getting the benefit there. On Agent, sure, but you have to shoot those drones like that, not getting the 0.3 benefit. So
yeah, I think people need to just take solace in the fact that there's still plenty of levels to play 1.2 on and get really good times.
Absolutely. Like at the end of the day, like if you have good fundamentals with like 1.2 and just like, good player in general, like you can overcome your weaknesses because, as players, everyone has something that they're not particularly good at, and that may not be common, but everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and you've just got to learn how to play around those.
Yeah. And I think where more of the future development of 2.x lies is in the weird, like 2.x properly glitchy strategies, like shooting out the hostage taker in the frigate opening cutscene, or the 2.4 strat on Bunker 1 Agent analyzing on your way out. I think there's a lot. I feel like there's more meat on that bone that we just haven't found or figured out yet.
Oh, sure, because there's there's that clip of Wotus taking out the guard early on train in the cinema, which could be a big thing in the future if you think about it, because any guard you can take out on that stage just makes the level run astronomically better. So
yeah, I think there's a lot more still to be found there, although I think it's funny how often 2.x is actually used in Ophos of all things.
Yeah, like the obviously not allowed, but the clip of Gus blowing up the satellite to fail silo agent gets me every time.
Yes, that strat's good. The runway strategy to lure the guard to open the door so that you can run to the plane earlier on all 3 difficulties of runway comes to mind. Using it in the opening cutscene lure in Bunker 1. Like, we do so many lures and other weird things with 2.x in Ophos that you wouldn't do in the normal ranks, just because, it works better for us.
And again, like, circling back to, side leaks and stuff being, like, fun and a breath of fresh air, like, coming up with insane strats like that is so fun. Like, I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, like, coming up the combined efforts of Dusky and I to figure out Jungle Agent Ophos 5 which is probably the most optimized Ophos record of all time.
Probably. And I mean, it's jungle, so you have to wait 50 seconds in between attempts to even do it.
Yes. Dusky had to figure out a fringe technique for pulling out the gun earlier so that we could shoot Nat just a couple frames sooner than we normally would be able to.
Really? What is this fringe strat, out of curiosity?
So in order for Nat to die on Jungle Agent, she needs 2 headshots with the PP7. One of those shots we can get in during the opening cinema because the camera swoops in to Bond in such a way where we have a perfect shot on Nat's head. So we hit that shot during the opening cinema with 2.x. And then I don't remember the specifics, and neither does Dusky, because him and I were talking about this not very recently, but some point in the past couple months. But we couldn't remember how to do the strat because Dusky figured it out like that night. We both got 5 and then both promptly just forgot about it. But it involved switching weapons on very specific frames during the opening movement to get into Bond's head and actually start the level in such a way that Bond happens to pull out the gun just a little bit sooner than he normally would. And I don't know if something like that would have that much use on other 2.x levels. I can't think of any level where it would benefit us to shoot like immediately after starting, but potentially that's something someone could look into.
Well, honestly, if that whole breakdown like doesn't appeal to you and doesn't make you want to look into a side league, then you're just not going to get it because that sounds insane. So, like, while spinning around in the second part of the cinema, you shoot during that and hit Nat in the head.
Yeah. So specifically, the first cinema plays whatever. Second cinema plays. The camera swoops into Bond as he's doing his action pose. You have it's not that hard of a window to hit, but you have a window where you can hit Nat in the head before the camera goes into Bond's head and you gain control of Bond. Similar to like shooting out a guard in other opening cutscenes. And then you instantly turn it and you're holding the trigger so that you shoot Nat's head on the first frame possible. And then you have to do, I believe it's 5 perfect quick pauses with the fastest death animation that Nat can provide. And then you can pause out, and it's probably, we haven't timed it or anything, but it's probably like almost frame perfect.
Well, I got dual 3 with 2.x. How about that?
I actually do not have that accomplishment.
It's probably the one dual accomplishment you don't have.
Yeah. I was gonna say we both have that dual true ending.
I wonder who's gonna be the next to hop in that elite group of 4.
That's
currently.
true. That's true. I don't know who's close. I know there's a couple people with English and Japanese sweeps that just don't have PAL, but we shall see. We shall see.
PAL's usually the sticking point.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, besides the DLTK9, of course.
But yeah, I think the overall thing with 2.x is it to the old people, it's not that bad. It really is not that bad. You just gotta work with it for a little bit and it'll be perfectly fine. Like, get both controllers, set them on a pillow in your lap. You'll be perfectly cozy, comfortable, and gaining that time save within an hour. You just have to be patient with it. Like, just get past it. New players, it's not the be-all, end-all. There's still so much of the game that can be played without it, and a decent amount of the game that can't be played with it. So, everyone just needs to calm down.
Take a breath. It's going to be all right.
It's a part of the game. I think it's a valuable part of the game. It's one of the things that makes GoldenEye such an interesting speed game, especially considering we run ILs. But every level's different. Every level is different. So,
to top that off, I just want to say, to the older players, they say an old dog can't learn new tricks, but you guys are human, so no excuse.
Are they?
Yeah.
All right. That pretty much brings us to the end of 2.x, but we got a couple things left to close out the podcast, talking about other games in the speedrun community, for those that don't pay attention at all. We mentioned the Battle for Bikini Bottom TAS last week, that it would be debuting in a week. It has indeed come out. I believe you've watched it as well, haven't you?
Yes, and just want to say, never played the game before in my life, but still was both easy to follow because it just looked like a a collectathon platformer, but also hard to follow in the way that there was a lot of cooked strats going on that looked insane, and it was highly entertaining. I loved it.
Yes, it's a wild task. If you have any interest of watching speedruns, or especially if you're familiar with the game, I cannot recommend enough going and watching it. Absolutely insane. There's so many just bonkers strategies. It's absolutely wild, and it's a wild speed game in and of itself, but the task is just another level.
Say that despite not having a backwards long jump, he was getting BLJ speed, which I was not ready for.
It can be pretty wild. And speaking of perhaps more fringe speed games, anyone that's up to date on the YouTube scene, especially anything involved in the speedrun YouTube scene, would have seen Jaden Animations made a video about her attempts at Cooking Mama 2 all gold medals speedrun. And she was one of the first to do it. It took her somewhere around the 6.5 hour mark. And it promptly spawned a ton of people picking up Cooking Mama 2 and beginning to play it.
Now, when I hear a run with something of the effect where the title of the category is like all gold X or all gold symbols or blah, things of that nature, only thing that's burned in my mind is seeing people do like these insane 18-hour RTA runs where they just take forever. But I mean, and if that's the peer group, 6 hours doesn't sound so bad.
So basically what happened was she went in with no research at all and just started playing. And like partway through discovered how long the game actually was, but didn't give up. Made it all the way to the end. It's I'm looking at the leaderboard now. 6 hours, 47 minutes, and 30 seconds. And that happened 2 weeks ago. Since then, the game has been added to speedrun.com. There have been 6 other runs of all gold medals, all of which have been faster than Jaden's time. Sorry, Jaden. And then the any percent or all recipes category has exploded with 12 runs now on there. That clocks in the records at 2.5 hours, and now the gold medal record set a couple days ago is just under 4 hours.
And that's the thing. You do one of these games, you never know if you might give birth to an entire category that everyone's just into.
And it gets a little bit wilder because EasyScape, who's a pretty well-known speedrun content creator, made a video about kind of in response to Jaden Animation's video about doing the speedrun. And Jaden came up with a like miscellaneous category where there's this apple pie recipe and you can very easily turn the oven up too high or something and just burn the pie. And so EasyScape decided to make a bounty to incentivize people to play it. And so he's like, anyone that submits a time with proof for this category, burn a pie, will be entered for a raffle to win money. So this happened I believe he posted the video a few days after Jaden's video, which was about 2 weeks ago. And there are currently 199 submitted runs on the Burn a Pie leaderboard.
Oh man, look, and it might be time to go burn a pie. To be honest, like why not?
Yeah, the
Might have to-
oldest. Let's see.
That's the luck, mate. You know what I mean?
The oldest runs on the Burn the Pie leaderboard happened 2 weeks ago, and I imagine that was shortly after Jaden's video. So there's been a lot of activity there. Very interesting to see a new speed game be born out of nothing by a pretty well-known YouTuber.
Always here for the the competition and the good content. Love it.
Yes. Moving into games that more people have both heard of and played. There was another Mario Kart 64 shortcut discovered, and as far as I can tell, it still has only been done tasks only. It is a, like, whatever their unit of measurement is. It's like an X-perfect clip into a fence in Calamari Desert that then allows you to do some laps pretty fast.
Are we entirely sure that 464 is not an AI?
Just an AI constantly bashing their head against walls just to see what happens.
He's an AI just running like insane algorithms where every other week he's like, all right, here's a new shortcut, and it was like, what do you mean there's a new what are you talking about? It's like new shortcut. It's like, okay, new shortcut. All right, let's get cracking.
It's just constantly running a simulation of every track in Mario Kart, trying every single possible combination of inputs at any given point in the map.
Well, as we all know, 99.99 infinitesimal repeating percent of the time. When they say a Stratus task only, eventually it's not anymore. So I'm sure work is being done on it as we speak. So we'll see who gets it first.
QWERTY, you're up, mate.
My guy, look, listen, put down the cereal and the Saturday morning cartoons for just a minute. I need some content.
My man doesn't need to do homework all weekend.
No, man, what? 2 + 2? Thomas Jefferson, like, come on.
Fire it up. And then another well-known game, the original Legend of Zelda, Nintendo Entertainment System. Lack Attack comes in with this man just has owned this game for so long, and he has broken what many consider to be the final minute barrier. Legend of Zelda getting a sub 28-minute run of the no up and A category.
I think the first time Lack Attack had the record in this game, QWERTY wasn't even born.
Probably not.
I think that's that might be wrong, but it would be entirely reasonable to be right. So he's broken it at least 80 to 100 times.
Probably.
Just a king of Legend of Zelda, and obviously, like, you have to love a game like that to play it for that long and push it that hard that many times.
It's a wild speed run as well. It has changed a lot since I first watched it. Even back, I probably would have first watched a run of it back in 2016 or 2017, and it's changed so much since then.
I haven't had a chance to watch it myself, but rest assured, it's sitting in my sitting in the watch later. I'm definitely going to give it a spin in the near future.
I watched it 2 days ago, I think, something like that. It's a wild run too. He was 16 seconds ahead of his PR about a minute before the end. Lost about 10 seconds or so, but still broke the 28-minute barrier. So congrats to him. Absolutely insane run. I would not be surprised to see him break the record again in the near future.
Never would be at this point. But we'll see if their version of 464 comes along and is like, hey, new strat, now you get a 26, and it just keeps on going forever. Because as as my man Bismuth once said, shout outs to Bismuth, the limits are never where we think they are.
Mm-hmm. And then the final note we have in the other games category, Pauli, you added iceberg images, and I still don't know what you wanted to talk about here, so this is all you.
Right. Let me let me get a takeoff here, if you don't mind.
Go for it, dude.
So obviously the iceberg image like format is, it's been around for way longer than recent history. But when the SM64 one was made, and I believe the account was Mishkaz, like made the video about it, like explaining it, it just created this whole like renaissance where it was like it was everywhere. It was back in a big way, baby, and it was great. Like, I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed videos. I've watched so many videos on them now that are like, they've been good. Like, I have not played Minecraft one frame in my entire life. But you know what? I watched an iceberg vid on it, and you know what? It was fun, and it was cool to learn all this esoteric, obscure knowledge about a game that I ain't even played. So when done that way, it's great. However, I feel like some people have missed the forest for the trees, and they don't really know why this particular form of the iceberg has like taken off in popularity. And so I realized that the original Mario one was made in a way to both be informative, but also to like, get these fun like, ooh, Wario apparition, spooky, ooh, like pseudo creepypasta things off for like fun. And like, that's cool and all, but now it's just like people are like shoehorning it in to their own versions of the iceberg when it doesn't really need to be there. It's kind of like, it's like it's missing the point. Like, I feel like most people like it because they like the knowledge and someone explaining, because they look at it and they're like, oh, here's Legend of Zelda, and they see a line and like, what the fuck does that mean? And someone explains, like, oh, that's sick, I had no idea. That's why I think people like them. So when I see one and they're just like, oh, like, it's like, oh, every copy of X is personalized, like, you didn't earn that setup. You're just shoehorning it in, and like, I don't think it's good. Now, obviously, me being the authority of everything, I can't just be like, take it out. Like, it's not what I'm saying here. I'm just like, like you said with the 2.x, I just relax, just take a step back on that, and make more informative images about your particular game. And like, if you throw a little creepy one in there or whatever, just for the sake of haha XD, like, yeah, I think that's fine. But just being like every copy of Bikini Bottom is personalized, or fucking Magic the Gathering's a CIA psyop. Like, can we not? Can we just put the brakes on that?
I would like to state that there are no such things on my personal iceberg.
Yeah, that's right. If you didn't know, like, just from the the stream memes, made his own iceberg, and it's quite funny if you if you're in on the joke, and if you're not, maybe one day you can be let in on the joke. You know what I mean?
I'll probably make a video explaining the whole thing at some point, because it'll be a long video because I packed that thing full.
Listen,
it's more text than iceberg.
No, the at Taco Bell where they had the 7-layer burrito.
Yeah.
More than that. It's more layer. It's like it's a lot.
So many layers that you can't even tell that there's layers.
Shoutouts to Shrek.
Indeed. Speaking
But,
of shoutouts, great segue. Look at me go. Holy shit. Pauli, the person of the pod, I will leave this to you since you picked him out.
Yes. So, person of the pod, possibly the person of the stream, of your stream and your particular wallet, because my boy Mammal, king of the gift subs, king of the bits, king of the wallet, just out here spreading the love and spreading the joy and most definitely spreading the subs.
Yeah.
And just want to say, that's my guy. Never had never spoken a word to him in my life, and likewise for him. But seems like a cool and fun dude to have around. And thank you.
Yes, shout out to Mammal. And that pretty much brings us to the end. We do have still the trivia question. Get some closure there, even after the power outage and anything. Do you have a guess, Pauli, as to the answer?
No, I was there, right? I was in my mind trying to formulate, and then my power went out, and it completely threw me off my game. I don't even know what Dan 53 is, so I'm afraid I don't have a guess.
Well, this is a bit of a selfish trivia question, because the answer is me.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I pulled one of those. Because I keep waiting for this to change, but I guarantee that others have achieved 53 on all three systems, but I'm the only one on the ranks with all three proven with video.
It seems like such a Cali thing to do, as a matter of fact. I'm surprised it's not him.
And it's wild considering that I think there are 3 different people that have Runway 22 on all 3 versions.
Well, that's just silly.
Although maybe not.
Dan 53, whatever. Runway 22, that's just irresponsible. I don't care how easy it is or isn't. That's just...
Okay,
stop it.
There's 2 that have it on all 3 on Runway, and I know that there's probably quite a few more that have it Bunker 17. I know I do.
Yeah, just clip and upload. It's not so bad. It'll take 5 minutes.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that trivia question to no longer be viable as other people finally bother getting / posting proof of 53 on the other versions just to spite me.
Kelly W. Kelly W, do it really quick. I know you can do it. Come on.
But that is that. And then another thing, I'd love to put in a question and answer segment at some point into the podcast. So if you have any questions for Pauli and I mean any questions, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? What's your favorite color? It's obviously yellow, but
yes.
What's your opinions on oatmeal? Just fire away, and I don't care how ridiculous or completely out of context these questions are. We will take them, and we will probably run with them just to get a bunch of meme content in, because I know we both like our memes.
I would argue that's our wheelhouse.
Yes, indeed. So I think provide any questions for us any way you can. YouTube comment, Discord, just telling us. Then posting on the forum thread, I guess, works as well. Just any way you want to provide questions, literally anything at all. Just ask.
Yeah. Unlike the controversial opinion thread, you can post questions and statements and other forms of sentence structure that aren't opinions.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you for listening. This has been episode 2.x with Fletcher and Pauli.
Every now and then it hits me. It's just oh man.
It's such a good title. We're never gonna have a good title again, are we?
No, probably not.
This is the peak. Everything's downhill from here. maybe
At least
peaking a little early.
At least it was a sharp peak.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, unless you have any closing statements, we're done here.
I have exactly 2 words for a closing statement.
Oh, yes.
Goodbye forever.
Goodbye forever.